Welcome back to 420 Chief. Today's episode is an absolute honor, y'all. I'm sitting down with Josue, a retired Navy chief whose journey represents what so many veterans are living through in silence. The uniform comes off, but the battles don't. And far too many of our brothers and sisters never make it to the other side of their own pain. We still lose an estimated 22 veterans every single day, and every one of these conversations matters. Josue opens up about his time in the Navy, the weight he carried afterward, and how integrating plant medicine helped him finally begin to heal physically, mentally, and spiritually. These stories aren't just interviews, they're lifelines. They're proof that healing is possible and nobody has to fight alone. I'm going to jump right into it and introduce my brother, Josue. Welcome in, brother. How are you?
What an honor it is to be here, my brother. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's my honor. Always love having another fellow Navy chief on the show because irregardless of us, whatever units we were in, we still have that background, that similarity, that camaraderie that we've both been through together, and we understand what a responsibility that can be. So,
Yes.
great.
And thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that and honoring that moment, actually, too, for all
Absolutely.
of us.
Something to be proud of. That's certainly an accomplishment, and so I'm proud of you for sticking it out, making it, and being here today with a smile on your face to tell your story, because the more of us that share these stories, the more people we can reach, the more people we can heal, and remind each other you're never alone. You might be sitting there physically at home by yourself, but what you're going through, we've got resources, other people that have been there, and other people that overcame that. So this is another one of those stories today. Josue, you want to just tell us a little bit of a background about yourself prior to the Navy?
Yeah, so real quick, I am from the island of Puerto Rico. I came over via plane, not by boat or swimming. I came back in the early 80s to New York. My mom was a single mother of two at that time. My dad was a Vietnam guy. My biological dad was a Vietnam guy. So that obviously didn't work out. She moved us to New York, and from there, grateful that she met my stepfather years later, and he was an active duty devil dog. I was around 9, 10 years old, and he came into my life and pretty much got me out of that. We were living in the Bronx, in the South Bronx, so if you know anything about NYC, it's rough over there. I went to a PS 83 that was down in Manhattan, so I would have to take the train every morning back and forth, and then in the evenings. So great experience. A lot of, those were the 80s, so a lot of uh, growing up early in the
Right.
streets, right? So I grew up
It's
in
a
the street.
rough time too. Rough time to be in the streets because that was a tough time. People were strong, tough. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I mean, we were witnessing people getting beat up and getting their sneakers taken back in the day, They had the shell top Adidas, they were gone at the park, tied up to the fence. So, yeah, and so he got me out of that spot, and we moved to the Camp Pendleton, California, then Okinawa, and then he finished up his career in 1993 out of Camp Lejeune. I graduated out of Lejeune High, class of 93. I worked for Mickey Mouse for a couple years. After that, he moved us down to Central Florida, Kissimmee, little Puerto Rican, little Rican town, Kissimmee, what it is now, Orlando. And
Yep.
and from there, I worked for Mickey Mouse for a couple years. I was actually the first cast member. If you've ever been to, I don't even know what it's called today. It used to be called MGM Studios, but it has the Hollywood Tower Hotel.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so I'm the first cast member to ever ride that ride on top of sandbags after the person who made the whole thing up wrote it.
Wow.
So amazing. I've had an amazing life, an amazing career. And so a couple years there, I got written up twice because my hair was too short. Got written
Wow.
up twice. So I initially came in to be a medic. to be a corpsman.
Who ya, Corman?
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So I came in to be a medic. That was my first intent. I actually took, let me back up. I took the ASVAB with the Marine Corps. Duh.
That makes sense.
And they were like, oh, you want to play with guns? Because I wanted to be a canine instructor, canine MP, and then instructor. And obviously they were like, oh, you like playing with guns? Nah, it's like, no, my dad's a grunt. I already know what's up, bro. My dad didn't know at that time that I was talking to the recruiter.
You were sneaking in
Um,
the recruiter? When you're trying to get out of there, huh?
bro, I was, trying to make moves. I didn't feel comfortable living under my mom and dad's roof any longer. Just didn't feel like Disney for me wasn't. I mean, as a young buck, I actually got held back when my dad moved us to Okinawa. I got held back in the 8th grade, so I would have graduated when I was 17. And then things would have, however, but that didn't work out like that. So I would have graduated earlier. Needless to say, here I am today at the rightful age of 19 with a few more years of experience added to that.
Right? So you were in there talking to the Marine Corps at first, you said, and then what happened?
It was too much. They didn't have anything close, and I was ready to go at one point. And I went in and talked to the Navy recruiter. My mom had texted me, beat me, beep, 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 called her back. What's up? She worked at Naval Hospital there in the June. And
Okay.
yeah, and so she was like, hey, I read in the newspaper that the Navy is looking for corpsmen. So I went down to the corpsmen and talked to them. They're like, oh, yeah, we can get you in there. You're good. We got the test course. It's going to be about 8-9 months till you get to your A school. I'm like, absolutely not. I want to leave now.
That's too long.
So, ATD it is. So yeah, so I came in under the ATD program. That's an airman apprentice program, and I came in as an undesignated airman. Got to my first command at USS Independence back in Yokosuka, Japan. That's where I met Tommy, and my guys tuned in. And there we were forward deployed, bro. So I couldn't. I did 100 hours plus OJT down in medical, but I wasn't never flight to flight. I just worked.
You
We
were trying to
worked.
strike corpsman at that point. You came
Right.
in
Right.
TD,
Yeah.
you're like, "I'm gonna get my OJT, do manuals or whatever," and then that's what you're going for?
Yes. All of that good juice. I had a pretty cool LPO at that point, and then he was like, "Hey, I know you're striking and your board's coming up. I'll give you my seat down at the safer school for the next week for ABS school." And I made E4 the first time up, so they got me.
Booyah, petty officer. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was a real Navy, man. That was a, all male ship.
Yep, and you were excited to get that crow because now you're not just doing all the work, you're not just swabbing all the time.
Well, back then that crow got tacked on really good.
Yeah.
And so, we go out to the haunch and that was a whole different story there. That was amazing times, right? That's where a lot of us have earned what we have today.
That's true.
In every righteous way.
But for our civilian viewers, do you wanna explain what that means? Tacked on? I'll talk about, like, traditionally, it meant each of your peers would sew 1 stitch onto your crow, onto your arm, but we changed it up. I'm not sure how they tacked yours on.
Yeah, at some point, we started to find ourselves kind of bored, and I feel that that's what it stemmed from, right? I learned that after I left the Indy, but it's pretty much out of boredom. Probably we developed these skills of stupidness that we bring upon ourselves, and so tacking on will simply mean that they will take, for instance, this pin and take the actual pin, put it on your actual place where it goes on your breast, and hammer it in there either with their fist or however it went. So there will be a lot of blood involved and a lot of bruising for the next couple of weeks. So that's just what it used to be. I don't see that practice too much longer happening in today's Navy or military as a whole.
I'm sure there's areas where that stuff still happens, like down in the hull of the ships, the HTs probably still get rowdy, but it is a different time. People get in a lot more trouble now for doing that stuff compared to when we were in. that was part of traditions, so to speak, depending on where you were at. So that wasn't common for ours. You just put your arm around a pole in the birthing, and everybody come through and just pow, sock you right in the arm, right on the pro.
Yeah. Eventually, it went to that, and then I don't even know what it is today. If anybody's here, active duty. I mean, yeah, don't talk about it now. Yeah.
So, anyways, that was your first command. What else you wanna touch on your Navy career? Because you had quite an impressive career. I know you sent me over your tour of duty stations, and that was, you've been all over the world.
Yeah, so my first duty station was Yokosuka, Japan. I felt like I didn't experience Japan enough as a child. I was pretty sick, and so then boom, got over here to Yokosuka and just wild out. We were full deployed, uh, and I've had a couple of homies in here that were with us back then. So man, we've gone to a lot of countries: Guam, Hawaii. Um, start there, going out Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong. A lot of times, I was actually in Hong Kong back in '97, July timeframe, I believe it was, where they turned over to China, back to power. So that was pretty impressive. But a lot of great ports that we got to hit that otherwise, once things started happening around the world, we couldn't no longer go to. But we experienced a lot of great ports. Um, After Yokosuka, we decommissioned the USS Independence, and then I went to the USS Truman. Truman for the next couple of years. That was from '98 to 2000. I was on the Truman, and there on the Truman was just a lot of trouble, man.
Like what? Like, what'd you run into? You got in trouble or the people there were a lot of trouble? Oh, yeah, typical
A
sailor.
lot, a lot of sailoring. Okay, so I'm a DJ. I started DJing back in the mid '90s. Uh, DJ Chaos, who was my mentor then. DJ Chaos is out of Eastern North Carolina, still active at a radio station there. And he turned me on. I was always into music. Music was part of our household, cleaning days and every day. I'm Puerto Rican, so they will have records playing. My dad had his technique. I said my dad, my stepfather, Julio. I call him my dad. But yeah, so music's always been so much of a part of me that I ended up starting a DJ business back in 2019. But yeah, I've DJed throughout the world. I've DJed in Hong Kong, Dubai a lot of times. I go by DJ Habib. Um, my given name by Chaos is DJ Menace. However, when I started DJing in the Sandbox, that changed one night. My MC changed that one night, and so it's just always stuck from there.
Okay.
Um,
Love some music, man. Music really unites people, and it can transform us from place and time. I could throw on a Journey song and take us back, to this particular time in life. So music is really magical, and I love how it just unites folks. It doesn't care about right or left, this or that. It's a vibe in itself, and that's something I think we can all agree on is music that you can feel. There's nothing better than that.
yeah, and I tell you, I have to be extremely careful today, where there was moments in our careers, that we got to get turned up, and when we get turned up, and I'm just not talking about our career inside of the military, but sometimes we did extracurricular stuff outside that we should have not tied into our lives, and that cost us heartaches just to get through, however that looked for us. And so, in order to get into a headspace, I noticed that today some of these songs come by, and I got to shut it down. Like even right now, even talking about it, right? It brings it unbalances me because I can feel it, and I know what that has the potential to do. But what I'm learning is that as we talk through our moments, whether it's one on one, I like to talk to them to myself, and I like to always say that when I'm speaking today, it's if I'm speaking to the mirror, whether it's with you here on the platform, or just anybody in the street. I get to walk around and talk to the perfect strangers, and they don't discriminate. All of a sudden, this person just needed a moment, and I just happened to be the right place. So it's just having that eye today.
And I know being a chief is a big part of that. It helps. Like, I remember when the first time, I wore my khakis after I got pinned, I was going home. I stopped at a gas station, and I'm, like, so out of it. It's been, like, a crazy that was a crazy time, but I remember a complete stranger ran over to me, "Chief, chief," like, her boyfriend was just cheating on her. Like, I'm not even near a base at this point in time. I'm, like, 45 minutes away, but she saw the khakis. She knew that I was a chief. I guess she was a reservist, and so she ran to me to get some help, and I was like, I just, had to separate them and, whatever. But it's like I'd never met her, she'd never met me, and she ran to me because she knew that I had, resources, that I was someone that she could come to for help.
Yes.
So, let's get back on track. I'm sorry, we were talking about you on the Truman, that was a rough time. You wanna go from there?
Yeah. So I got one of my first qualifications to become a chief on that. Back then. So I got my first DUI there.
Oh,
I was a
wow.
bouncer at a club out of Little Creek called Knickerbockers. It was ladies' night, and I felt all right.
Little Creek, that's I was at it, assault craft unit, man, I love that place, that was an awesome place.
Yeah, yeah. And so I got out of there. I ended up getting married to one of my beautiful daughters, Angelisa's mom. Um, my daughter's online right now with me, and so thank her for her heart and what she's shown me over the years. So, and my Angelisa was born in 2000, and we moved to Whidbey Island.
Okay.
So I, being from Puerto Rico, asked for shore duty, and the place they said says island on it. So I was like, "Oh, okay, bet, sign me up." I didn't
Yeah,
know it was. I didn't know it was over there. And so, everybody, this is Lexi, by the way. Say hi,
hey,
Lexi.
Lexi, she's a good girl.
Say hi. Yeah. So she's doing her job right now because I'm a little worked up. So she gets worked up. At any rate, so yeah, so I spend that time there in Whidbey Island. 9/11 happened. So did my divorce.
Oh, wow.
Uh, so that's my second check mark.
DUI, divorce.
Yeah, yeah. And so, um, going through my divorce there, 9/11 happens. Um, Through that moment, I'm sitting in my house, my empty-handed, with this little pit bull that my ex-wife wanted at that point. Now I'm with this dog by myself in the house, and nothing but Miller Lite and rum Rico a day, pretty much.
Yeah.
And a phone number came across, and I called, and it happened to be my current wife's phone number, where I used to call her back in the day. She was a friend of mine's friend, and we got back in touch, and at that time, and I got married, remarried again in 2003. Um, right before that, I had gotten a cool letter in the mail saying, "Hey, you need a report to Osceola County, do a DNA test." And
Oh,
I
wow.
found I had a daughter of 3 years who is amazing. She's my oldest. Her name's Laseda, and she just completed her 6 years in the Navy,
Who ya?
and she's out there in Alabama in Huntsville doing her thing. Amazing, amazing. She just made me a grandpa to my little Crick and Liam, and I'm just very proud of her, how far she's come also in her journey, in her transition, along the side with me, both physically and mentally, and most important, mentally.
That's quite a I can't even imagine that feeling of, "Oh, by the way, you have a child," and you found out when she was 3, you did the DNA test?
And it gets better. I got custody and full sole custody of her at the peak of my career. She was around. She was 7 when I got her. I got full sole custody when she turned 9, but I had her back in a couple of years. A lot of lawyers, you know what I'm saying? But nothing was stopping me. That's why I picked up the DJ stuff and the company. I took, for those of you guys that know about Redux, I took the Redux, started a business, and it went extremely well. I started DJing there in Pensacola. It led me to a lot of beautiful places around the world. But anyway, I got custody of her. She spent her life with me, I took and put her into the Young Marines program. I was one of the Young Marines senior drill instructor there at NATSE, Pensacola. And I broke her down and I built her to be a replica of me, bro. And she's every bit of it. She's half my age and every bit of me. To include the recovery side today, if that makes sense. So I'm just grateful that journey didn't come to an end, that it came to fruition the way it has today.
That's amazing and good on you. I can resonate with full custody as, my oldest son, I've had him since he was 4 months old, I think. Full custody through active duty, through everything. He's been there with me through it all, even, 2 divorces, 3 baby mamas. He's been through all of it,
You
and
must be Puerto Rican too.
No, I don't know, but I made him in my image at that time, and so I can resonate and feel that, and, um, it takes extra work, like you said, you took on DJing, you started, you had to hustle, to make it.
Yeah. I was working there in Pensacola, man. You got to think about, we're instructors, we're master training specialists at some point. And actually, there in Pensacola is where that duty station there in Pensacola helped me make chief. Not that time that I went to Pensacola. I went to Pensacola for A school, for C school, for FC school, and after the Truman there, and what was it? The Truman Whitby, and then from Whitby they sent me to the Carl Vinson.
Oh,
Yeah, then we took the Carl Vinson, and we were supposed to hit XYZ. No, straight to war. Let's go. Uh, and so we went to work out there, and then we brought her in from Birmingham back to Norfolk. To bad news, Newport News.
Newport News?
To the
Yeah,
PPR there. Yeah.
okay.
And then there, the Carl Vinson, I was an E5 that time. That's when I went to Pensacola as a first class. I left the Carl Vinson as a first class. The day before I transferred, they pinned me. I went to Captain's Mass. That was the third one. My bad. So in Whidbey Island, I went to Captain's Mass.
That's your 3rd strike?
Yeah. I went through the divorce, lost my kids, blah, 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 and I had an airman that got dropped from his school. And things happened. And so I went to Captain's Mass there. And that was the third one. So that was my good. And finally I recovered from that on the Carl Vinson. May 1st, was able to make good on the test. Master Chief helped me and taught me a few things on test taking, because I was never a good test taker. And so got over that hump and went to Nancy and just pumped it out, man. Just worked, delivering pizza, so I didn't have lawyer fees. And then did my duties as the drill instructor or senior drill instructor there for the Young Marines. And not drill instructor, but instructor.
Okay.
For the Young Marines program there in Pensacola. It was an amazing, rewarding time because it taught me a lot, which when we listen to kids, we can learn more. Not to go real heavy, but I lost my childhood very early on in my life. So I didn't have a real good childhood. I was done wrong by another male at a very young age, at around 4 or 5 years old. And so heavy heavy from that moment on. However that looked, I had to put on the shield, and putting on that shield just got harder and harder. My chest and my heart got black hard. It had no color, just had nothing but rage to, you know, we start blaming it on the careers, but the root for me was that point, and I'm kind of noticing that as I release. So thank you.
Thank you for talking about it. So oftentimes we suppress that, and it's really just we need to process that feeling so that we can move on from it. It's not even necessarily talking about it, but if you get to the point where you can and you're comfortable speaking about it, you can let that feeling go, and you can use that to help other people. So I appreciate you, and I'm super grateful for you bringing that up. So many people hold on to that, and they stay hard. They keep that front up, and that's not healthy. That causes problems in relationships, that causes problems with work, but more importantly, you it kills us.
Yes, I have four beautiful kids and my wife, and it held me back, um, right? Because I had to find myself through all
They
the.
they didn't hold you back, they anchored you.
They are my anchors, right? They're all of them are my reminders. Each one individually has played a crucial role in my recovery. Um, I always say I don't seek outside for help, but the outside gives me a lot of guidance, which I accept the help. And it was hard to accept help in any form. And there's so many different forms of help. I like to just say that I have many resources. I don't want to say I have a lot of help because the word help for me deterred me from getting the resources. And this is just recently, a few years ago, up to present. I've begun my journey into this amazing recovery that I'm just grateful that no liquor or drugs ever touch my body other than the drugs that were prescribed to me. Um,
Let's
and
talk a little bit about that, Josue, if you're okay with it, because you had mentioned that you were drinking quite a bit, and you had all these things going on. Let's get to, like, your what point did that all start to really change? What did that rock bottom look like for you so that others know your rock bottom doesn't have to be there?
yeah, and so, nightlife for a lot of years drove a lot of that. And then once I started business, I never mixed drink and business, and that went extremely well. So that started, from my understanding, breaking that habit that I didn't have to drink to perform. But when I used to hit big stages, that wasn't the case. I mean, some sets in Hong Kong I don't remember, right? So the drinking was part of, I guess, the reason why my DNA has failed in the past. I'm here to bridge the gap between what was and what is, and make sure that it doesn't happen no more, right? So as far as life for me has been extremely different, and it's uniquely formed so that I show that those mistakes that were done do not need to be recreated to prove any point at any one point, right? I earned what I got. I just don't recommend earning it the way we did at times, right? However, going back to the drinking drove a lot of that afterwards. I lost my sense of purpose after I retired in 2015. I did have a stack of DJ gigs to go do, but I didn't feel that that was fulfilling for me because, what do you do after this? But that was going extremely well. I just didn't accept it. I got a job offer down here in Texas to take over as the assistant terminal manager down in Kingsville, Texas. And there I spent the next 6 months by myself, and I drank, bro, like a handle every 2 days. And I DJ'd and I worked. And under those conditions, I still thrived and I still kept going like, bro, this is not good. This is not healthy. And um, finally, in 2019, something started. Something started inside, and Um, I had to slow it down. Thankfully, I did. Right around there, I actually found the place that I live today, which is it's a beautiful town here in Texas, in Lago Vista. And I found this place, pure wrong turn. And here I am in this place. I'm saying I'm never going to work again. I don't have to work. I live on the lake. I'm good to go. I start working again and just start enjoying life in not the right way. And that led me to a crash, a real hardcore crash. I had stopped drinking in 2019, pretty much like the hard liquor. And when I found this place in 2019, got it built, moved in 2020, and I had started practicing with Doobie at that time. The stigma, right, if you will, behind the medicine, and it's been because that's what they wanted it to be back in
Well,
the day.
let's talk about that, and this is something I love to talk about to my guests about is that stigma and your perception of plant medicine throughout your life, because that had to have changed drastically. Do you wanna talk about what that stigma looked like for you at that
Oh,
time?
and until just up to recently, right? The same, because my wife is extremely pure, thank God, and she, she still had a problem with that up to just recently, till she saw what it did, right? However, growing up in that environment, my dad was a Marine too, so however that looked, and growing up in the Marine Corps environment, it's just a hell no. But we still did it. I still tried it while I was a young pup, right? It wasn't for me. I did try it a couple times with one of my good friends, rest in peace, homeboy Fernie, hit me up, and we said we tried it. It didn't work out for me, and thankfully it didn't. And then there was this one other time, but it just wasn't good, and it
So,
didn't do for me.
after you retired, how did you find your way back? Just curious.
Back into civilization, society.
Like cannabis or plant medicine, how did you find your
Yes. In 2019, my cousin who's injured in the wheelchair, retired staff sergeant, and he he saw that I wasn't myself with all the medicines that I was on. And I'm his bigger cousin. I'm the oldest. I got 4 sisters. I'm the oldest. I'm actually the oldest out of my whole entire. I'm this first generation dude. That's it. I'm the first of our generation for our family.
Jose
And
or
and so my cousin, yeah, he was like, bro, try this. And I was scared, I was working. I was like, nah, I can't do it because I work for the people, so I can't. The moment I dropped my 2 week notice, though, bro, that's what turned me on to it. So that was October 5th, 2019.
and now how did you was it a gummy? Did you have a drink? How did you consume it?
The Benjamin.
Oh, vape.
Yeah, so I tried that first because I was pretty scared, and then actually, no, my dumbass bought a little bit of doobie from somebody. I didn't know what to do. I thought you just eat it.
Oh, no.
I put it on my steak. I cooked up a steak. I put it on there. That's how ignorant I was to it. This is 2019, bro. You know what I'm saying? So from there, then I learned um, a lot more to the point that we at today, right? That what that has done for me is what you're looking at, right? I'm not saying that this is all doobie. I'm just saying that this doobie allows a certain freedom in my body to be able to tune in enough to be able to speak to you today.
Yes, you use it with intention. You're not using it to avoid having this conversation. You're not using it to avoid feeling. You're using it to help you process.
Yes, and that wasn't with a lot of practice, right? Of understanding that when practicing with Doobie, it's always under a good headspace. It's not to bring you to a. You have to bring yourself to the right headspace I don't like to practice doobie when I'm when I used to, right? I did at times, and that's why I can talk about it today and know what I'm talking about. That when I use doobie during my rage moment, the moment of rage, um, that's not what it's for. Um, and so I had to get off of it for a little bit and recheck.
Dieta.
Yeah. And so by going back and forth and always checking in, right? Is this a need? Is it a want? Is my body in need of it right now? Does it want it? Does it need it? And then respecting that. And so getting to that level and understanding that the vape is extremely harsh for our lungs. Vape, I don't mess with it no more. I'm just pure flower processed smoke process. I don't like the gummies too much, if not at all. And the reason being is because I use as I need. When my pain level gets to a certain level, I know how many puffs of my one hitter I got to take. I don't go no further than what I need, and then it stops right there. The gummies I haven't found yet my right um, dosage, if you will, and I don't like to have a head high. I like my clarity to be where it's at, and my physicality to be exactly where it's at. Also,
What you're talking about right now is know what works for you. That's why when I retired as a chief, I wrote this book, Strains for Pains, and I wrote it because I found that not all products are the same. They don't help the same way. Some gave me anxiety. Some made me tired. Some gave me energy. Some made me want to go shopping. Some made me okay to talk to my mom for hours or whatever. But that's
yes,
why I wrote this book so that I could keep track of what worked for me.
yeah, and that's very important, right? Knowing what we know today about doobie, that we have these other terps, and understanding the terps, understanding what they do, right? You know, we go into the piney stuff, and you talking about piney, that puts you in a mood. So you can have an indica with a terp of piney terp in there, and then wondering why this indica is not putting you in the couch. It's because it has a terp. So if you turn that same indica and you read the label and you find a terp that's not pine, that's more in the lavender side, then you'll get that sleepy
Well,
effect.
you said something earlier that stuck out in my mind that I think a lot of other people might wanna hear more about, and that is that you were taking prescribed medications, I assume, from the VA, and I would like to hear a little more about the effect that that had on you and how you got away from that and the impact that that made on your life, because to be honest with you, brother, we all know about 22 a day, which is actually much more, like 44 veterans take their lives every day. But what we're finding is these medicines that 68% of us are prescribed actually increase the likelihood of suicide. And not only that, it causes a lot of them cause cancer. And that resonates with me because more than half of the people from the last mobilization alone have passed away from or currently have cancer.
And more stuff coming down the pipeline that we don't know about yet. Now, I tell you, a few years ago, I was prescribed so much medicine after an episode. I went asking for help. I was having a mental breakdown. And thankfully, again, no drugs, no alcohol involved. And actually, not even Dubia at that moment. I was just raging really bad. And so I left my house one night in full uniform, in that uniform, and my blues, because the way I looked that night and the way I felt, I knew that I was going to die. So I left that night, and short story, I was picked up by police, and from there in the vehicle, they tried to take me to a couple different places. I ended up going to this place in Waco called 94 Bravo, 94B, and it was the dungeon. Spend the next week and change in there, um, fighting for my life every night, every day. Wounded Warrior Project has resources for us that I didn't know about. lawyers being one of them. They come to your aid when you need them. They came to my side and they got me out of there within 24, 48 hours of finding out that I was in there, not knowing anything about me other than that I was in there. And somebody reached out, a good friend of mine, Mike Ivanus, and got that ball rolling for us. Got me out of there. I raged out of there. They sent me home with every medicine that I needed. If I would have took that medicine, brother, I would have died. I'll send you videos of that later. I have those videos also, and all the medicines that they sent me home with. The day that I got home, I did try it, and that's what set me off, because two of the medicines slowed my heart so bad that it made me feel like I was already in my deathbed. Everything went black. So that began more of my rage that set off. That was in 2022, I believe. And a series of events happened after that. And rage was the forefront. I was blaming everything and everybody for it. And then I lost my family for a lot of months. I was here by myself, fighting for my life. And I hit the light one night and I still almost refused it. And I'm just grateful that when that light came, it didn't turn off on me. And that led me to start seeking help, because I didn't have nothing else. Now it's just me and myself and I.
I'm so proud of you for realizing it, Josue. So many people get to that point and they don't realize it, or they get too scared, or they think they're too far gone for help.
Yeah,
So,
all of
thank
it,
you so
all of
much
it,
for sharing that, and you did share
all of
your
it.
resources with me, and I'll make sure to get that link in our show description because there's so many good resources out there that people aren't aware of.
Yeah. I from there, months later, my wife came back by herself first, and then settled in, and then from there, we went on our first couple odyssey, um, and that started my journey into accepting uh, help, because the help is not in the system; it's outside of the system. There's a lot of good people out here. Your girl Sunny is amazing. I thought she was a veteran too, and that I didn't want to chime in the other day on that, but um, that's exactly my field today here in this small town that I live at. I've gotten a lot of love from civilians, a lot, and so thank you. Yes,
Yeah, that's
and
one of the things that Sonny and I are doing, Josue, is with Break Stigmas, our nonprofit, is bridging that gap between veterans and civilians, realizing that we can be here for one another, we can share resources, we can listen and help one another.
yeah, my biggest thing. And I was listening to this on Sunny's yesterday, I believe, and that was part of the topic. And I'm gonna tell you, bro, that we as veterans are trained, and we are a certain type of robot, if you will. When I let that robot out and let it just be loose and be a free robot, a happy robot, where it's not robotic but genuinely great-hearted, and that shows when I go to the stores or anywhere I go, because it's a perfect stranger. So it's not us coming down to nobody's level. It's a pure consciousness that one has to have, of pure heart, no matter who you are. It's not a veteran thing or non-veteran. Yes, we endure different traumas or experiences. Trauma, first of all, doesn't have a level. It doesn't have a level 1, 2, or 3 trauma. Trauma's trauma. You could have cut yourself. Now you're allergic to knives. Now you're traumatic anytime you see a knife. Can't laugh at that, bro. That might have led to a couple ass whoopings because of whatever, We never know. And it's just having a more genuine heart, regardless of what we've done, where we've been, and what we've seen and done, gets put away to a sense that I can accept it because I know now how to speak about it and not be about it like that. We can speak all the negative stuff we want, but I feel that anytime I get into the negative stuff that got me somewhere, it doesn't free me up too much. So it's having more control of the negativity that comes out of our heart at all times, out of our thoughts. It's capturing that before it comes out. It's not reacting all the time. So for our civilian folks, I am so grateful because today I can have a normal conversation because I'm listening. God has given me the ability to see him and hear him at every single moment. And when these moments come on, I can listen. And so when it comes to the civilian side, that's what they want also. And most of the time, I notice that it doesn't take feedback, but a heart to heart hug does the job.
That's right. Some people wanna be heard, some people just wanna feel validated, you know? And that's all it takes is just to listen, to care enough to listen actively.
Correct. And listen with your heart. You don't. I often it's like, okay, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? Right? What is Josue going to do with this? Nothing. Listen with your heart. God guides me the rest of the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Josue, is there anything else about your story you wanna tell while we've got you on here before we start to wrap up?
No, just I I must say that once I started seeking deeper within myself, that really started freeing me from everything of this world. Tune in to myself to the point that I've tuned out enough to make it this far. And I got to check myself each and every morning. Before I leave the mirror in the morning, right? I look in the mirror and say, hey, bro, do you look fresh? Or do you feel fresh? Ah, all right, there it is. Right. So now I stay fresh all day. Right.
Be
And
fresh.
anytime I get out of line in my head, I might be in Walmart, be like, oh, bro, this is too much. Hey, what's going on? I sneak, go to the bathroom. I look in the mirror. Hey, get back to it, bro. Stay fresh. Check myself and then get back to work, right? And so it's practicing that so we can continue to be the light that Sunny's calling on me to be. And I will continue to be the light that we all need to be. And I'll continue to tell my story as much as it needs to be told so that not only am I free, but I can help, all for the one. All for the one. I'm not a religious guy and I'm not politics, I'm not religion. I just know that I have a direct connection and I love it. And it feels amazing. I thank you to all my homies tuning in and for you, my brother, for giving this delight.
Well, thank you more than anything for sharing your story, for opening up to us and sharing what you've been through because these stories resonate with others, um, especially the prescriptions, the alcohol, just a lot of the life situations. I hear that so often. But what I don't see is that same person that tells me those stories with a big smile on their face like you. People through the screen today can feel your energy. They can see that light in you like Sunny talked about, and that's because of the work that you've put in. That's because of the people that you've kept in your life, that you've surrounded yourself with to hold you accountable, and I think it was actually on one of Tom's interviews where he said, "You show me your friend group, and I'll show you your net worth," or something like that. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. And so I'm so proud of you because from what I've heard in your story, and it's quite a story of overcoming a lot of different things. Some of them I can relate to, some I haven't, but you found a way through it. You found a way through it. And what's that?
You there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Can you hear us?
Understanding today about my story that not every bit of my story is for everybody and not everybody is for a story. However, being guided today the way I am, that is, I know it has a word, but it resonates quickly upon the conversation starting, um, how it plays out and how
I
my
think your
heart
Bluetooth took
will
over.
connect with theirs.
I think your Bluetooth connected. I don't. There you are.
We're there.
Yeah, your Bluetooth connected for a minute. I can hear you now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear
Think I
me now?
lost you.
Can you hear me? Here. Well, Josue, can you hear us? Can you hear me? That's all right. I'll pull them out. Wow. What a story today, y'all. Thank you for sticking around for this powerful conversation with Josue. This story is real. This story is raw, and this story is happening every damn day to veterans across the country. They're just not all talking about it. We're still losing 22 a day, and truthfully, the number's higher than that. We know that. That's why sharing these stories really matters. When you share this episode, you're not just helping a podcast, you're helping raise awareness. You're helping a veteran feel seen, heard, and you might just save someone who's been holding on by a thread just from hearing it. So if this episode resonated with you, please share it out. Tag somebody who needs it and help us break these stigmas because together we can change this narrative. Together, we can keep more of our brothers and sisters here with us. With our resources, like Josue has shared with me, like so many other veterans have shared their stories of healing. That's why I do what I do here on 420 Chief. It's not about me. This is so many other people who have found true healing outside of big pharma. How so many people have healed. They said they were broken, but not anymore because they're putting in the work to make that change in their lives. And plant medicine can help. It's not for everyone, but those are the stories that I tell. There's so many different ways. There's so many extra additional resources out there. So please share it out. Follow, like, subscribe, comment. If you have questions, please let us know. Reach out and I can put you in touch with Josue. Josue is on TikTok if you want to give him a follow. And as always, lead with love.